The two main advantages of shooting with mobile as opposed to a normal digital camera is you've got the camera with you at all times. And the other side of it is the connectivity. You can then, if you want, share it straight away. I'm Gordon Laing, I'm a photographer and the editor of CameraLabs.com. My job is to review cameras, but also to take pictures. I love travel and food and photography, and I try and combine those wherever I can. Well, the two main advantages of shooting with mobile as opposed to a normal digital camera is the fact you've got the camera with you at all times, because who doesn't take their phone with them at all times? It's with you all of the time, which means you have a camera with you all of the time. I love photography and I love cameras, but there are plenty of occasions when I don't carry a big camera with me. You know, if you're going for a nice meal, or if you're going out with some friends for some drinks, or you're going somewhere where you think it might get damaged or whatever. There's lots of situations where you don't take the camera out, but you will always take your phone. Always. It's like taking your wallet, your keys and your phone. Three things that I always take with me everywhere. So the fact you've got this camera with you all the time opens up way more opportunities, especially social opportunities, you know, pictures of your friends in certain environments, or of other people if you're into street photography, for example. You know, if you're out and about on a night out and you see people doing interesting things or funny things, you can take a picture of them. You've got your phone with you, you've got a camera. Things don't always happen on cue either. You know, you may notice someone famous, you may notice a really fascinating pattern or lighting that isn't going to be there during the day. It's never going to be there again. So what? You've got your phone with you. You've got your camera. So the fact you've got it with you all the time is massive, absolutely massive. And the other side of it is the connectivity side of it, which is that you can then, if you want, share it straight away. You can back it up. So, you know, there was always this fear that if you got this fantastic picture, it's still only on that memory card. If it's on your proper camera, or if it's on a film camera, it still needs to be processed. It's still there. If something happens to that card or that camera before you manage to get that picture onto a computer, then it's gone. It's lost. Whereas the ability to post straight away, or to synchronize your pictures and back them up onto services like Dropbox or something like that, is just that changes everything as well. Well, Instagram's the biggest one for me, and the thing I like most about Instagram is that it is just pictures. People don't use it to just say, oh, I'm having a bad day, or what do you think of this political situation? I'm not really interested in that. I'm quite shallow. I want to share my photos and I want to consume other people's images. I just want to see what they're doing, think, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm going to try and do a bit of that, or that forces you to raise your game as well. You think, right, I've got to try a bit harder if I'm going to do this picture. So Instagram's the main one for me, and it's the one that I get the most feedback and engagement on. So as a platform, I really like it on multiple levels. I also like that it was born as a mobile app, and it still is best used mobile. I mean, yeah, you know, you can view it on a desktop, but it's really just for sharing links. It is designed for mobile use, and I really like that aspect of it. It's a great way of indexing and documenting your own journey in a public form, which is nice. And I have to say that, again, the beauty of digital photography is the speed at which you can become better at it. Not just because you're looking at pictures immediately on a screen that give you feedback, but when you share them, you're getting feedback from other people. Now, your friends and your family are mostly going to be nice to you, but strangers, as we know on the internet, are not nice to you. And they'll tell you very quickly whether they think your picture is any good or not. Generally not. So you can use that to work out what you need to do to become a more successful, I'm not going to say a better photographer, I'm going to say a more successful photographer in that environment. I think I've improved much faster as a photographer since posting stuff socially. It's a little bit nerve-wracking at first when you first post your pictures or start trying to promote them publicly, even if you've been a photographer for decades, because you're opening yourself up to a big audience, people who you might not necessarily know, and they're going to tell you what they think a lot of the time. But that feedback is fantastic, and it forces you, just sheer pride forces you to raise your game. And I feel I've become so much better since I've been posting stuff socially. Well, computational photography is definitely the future, and this is something that phones can do that normal cameras can't, which can then allow you to achieve certain effects that would be traditionally very difficult with a small camera with a small lens. Shallow depth of field effects where you can blur the background and just keep the main subject in focus, but all manner of other things that would normally require very specialist lenses or much bigger, heavier or complicated equipment can now be done electronically, can be done digitally. But again, the thing that's really exciting is not even necessarily performing those calculations within your own phone, but having that data sent off to a more powerful computer somewhere else in the cloud and having it process it and then send it back to you. And when you look at that sort of thing, then that is going to completely revolutionize photography, but in a really kind of invisible way, because you're not going to be necessarily aware of it happening. It's just going to work, and you're going to look at those pictures and think, wow, that looks fantastic. I didn't know I could achieve that with this sort of camera. And it will make you question whether you need necessarily a bigger, bulky camera and to carry around bigger, bulky lenses. You know, you may be able to achieve the effect you want with a nice, convenient, small phone. Well, In Camera was a book that I always wanted to write, because whenever I post a picture on Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, any of the others, when I post one of my good ones, you know, one that you're really proud of, I'll get lots of replies from people saying, great picture, what Lightroom preset did you use? What did you, and they're not trying to catch me out. They're not like, oh, only great picture because you processed it. They actually want to learn. They want to find out. They've been told that you need to apply certain presets, that you need to work it this way or use this kind of filter. And I would say to them, no, there was no post-processing involved. This is a picture straight out of camera. And they'll go, yeah, but you must have done something to the raw file. And then I would say to them, and I was a bit embarrassed at first, I said, actually, it's a JPEG. It's not even a raw file. And that would create utter horror with amateurs and professionals alike. Amateurs because they believe you need to shoot in RAW to be serious, and professionals who also believe the same thing because the RAW file contains more information, gives you much more latitude and opportunities to post-process. But what if you don't need to post-process? What if the picture is already finished when you take it? So I was looking at my JPEGs, and increasingly, I wasn't needing to do any work to them. I'm not saying this in like a snobby way, like I'm some sort of ninja photographer. It's more a case that JPEG processing was getting better and better and better, producing more natural results, the kind of results that I want. And digital cameras with their immediate feedback on the screens were ensuring that if I did make a mistake, I could correct it on location and just do it again. I didn't, you know, there's no excuse for getting the exposure wrong. You can check it on your screen. So I was looking at my pictures, I was looking at my JPEGs, they were everything I wanted them to be. I was looking at the cameras I was taking them with, whether it was a mobile or a mirrorless camera, for example, and they were giving me all the feedback I needed. So I thought, and then I was getting all these messages from people saying, you know, what are your secrets? What are the presets? And I thought, look, let's try and write a book that debunks all of this and says, look, you can, there's no shame in shooting JPEG. You can get really nice looking pictures in camera. So I compiled 100 of my favourite shots from my travels, which were all JPEGs, all out of camera, no post-processing, no Photoshop at all, a very pure approach. So that's what the book In Camera is about. It was about celebrating the art of in-camera JPEG photography and hopefully presenting some pictures where people would look at them and go, well, yeah, that's a fairly normal looking picture, but hey, that's a nice picture. I would not have expected that to have come straight out of the camera. I'd have expected that to have required a bit of work being done to it. So it was trying to prove a point, but also like the photography books that inspired me when I was a kid, I wanted to produce a nice looking photo book where people would look at it and go, I might not go to that location, but I quite like the style, the composition, I quite like the way he's used the light there, so I want to try and take a picture like that. But it was great fun and very, very refreshing, because so many camera books are all about processing after the event, and to me that's not what photography is about. It is for some people, but I think that hobby is actually called image processing. For me, the hobby of photography is actually picking up a camera, whether it's a traditional camera or a phone, going out, searching for light, searching for moments, for patterns, and capturing them. That's, for me, is the hobby of photography, and that's what I was trying to be passionate about in the book.